welcome to Impossible Coin. I am Brian Cartwright. I am joined by Rocky Hardy. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm still alive.
And I am joined by, hopefully also alive, Tegan Somerset.
Very much alive. Thank you for asking.
Fantastic. Hey, y'all, I know that this has never happened during the show, but I'm actually sitting here playing Fortnite on my Nintendo Switch. And what I'm doing is trying to somberly dab as Rick Sanchez in front of a display about Martin Luther King.
As one does.
Yeah, as one does. Man, that went sideways real quick, didn't it?
I was initially really concerned, but, it's kids being kids. Honestly, if I could have dabbed in front of the first I Have a Dream speech, I probably would have.
Fun story. So, our 8th grade class did a trip to D.C. right at the end of the year. As one does in America, apparently. And a bird pooped down my hat, and so I had to wash my hat in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool.
Oh, neat.
That was the thing I actually did, and there's actually photographic evidence of it.
Shoutouts to that.
So, dabbing in front of a digital display for a memorial, there are worse things that could be done, and I did them.
Attempting to put actual bird shit into the reflecting. But you know what?
No, I didn't attempt to put bird shit. I tried to clean my hat.
Which had bird shit on it, right?
Yeah, it did have bird shit on it, yes. Absolutely.
So, we can...
But the intent was not malicious, was the thing.
This is known.
Right, yeah. Whether or not it's the explicit goal or just a byproduct of the explicit goal, the result is the same. Bird shit in the reflecting pool.
I'm sure there's plenty of bird shit in the reflecting pool already.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably our next data point here, which is that, at any given point, there's some kind of bird flying over, and she's like, time to take a grizzly. These things happen.
Blind birds had never even heard of America.
Right.
Imagine being that bird. What a life. What a great life that is.
Yeah, right. Birds rock. Wait, we're not a bird podcast, right? I didn't, have a stroke.
No. And we couldn't really be a bird podcast. We couldn't be a bird podcast because...
then we'd be a fish podcast.
Right. As y'all know, birds are allegedly not real, from what I've understood. So, they're robots, I think.
This key thing will not happen, but we could theoretically be a podcast because Call of Duty is a game that exists. But I would never allow us to become one.
We thank you for your service.
You know what? Okay, maybe that's how we get our profile up. What if we were nothing but a podcast?
Nope,
not
allowing it. I will allow us to be a fish podcast before I allow us to be a Call of Duty podcast.
Once again, we could be a bird podcast, but to get back on topic, we're a podcast about video games, everyone.
Yeah!
Normally we talk about video games and the things we're playing and things going on in the industry. Brian, what have you been playing?
Well, before I talk about what I've been playing my favorite game, which is watching the spiral of Tommy Tallarico.
Sure.
Oh, I thought you were going to say avoiding legal snafus, which is, I believe, your other favorite game.
That's definitely up there. It's right up there. Avoiding legal snafus, emotionally spiraling, and laughing at Tommy Tallarico are all timers.
All top tier activities for Brian Cartwright.
Absolutely. But in television, who had a campaign on Fig to raise money, and then had a campaign on Republic to raise money. So that is 2 rounds of fundraising, 2 forward-facing public rounds of fundraising, and took money from the fucking German government. Germany had a grant for companies funding game development by German developers. And so they're like, yeah, we'll take that money. And that is why so many of the games currently in development for the Intellivision Amico are developed by Germans. But you take those 3 rounds of funding, apparently Intellivision has burned through most of it because they opened another round of funding on Fundable, where they did things like, say, lowered the amount of pre-orders they claim to have already happened by half. They now claim that they've only got 6,000 pre-orders. They updated their key personnel to no longer include the many number of people who've already jumped ship. So that's good too. But yeah. Television is out here raising more money. And meanwhile, people who've already given them money in other fundraising sites are asking them, hey, when am I going to start to see my revenue share? And Tommy's doing great things like be like, I don't know, ask Republic. And Republic is like, no, Tommy, that is entirely a you question. So I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the further incredible spiral of Tommy Tallarico. This week, he changed the name of the thread that he maintains on the Atari Age forums about the Amico from Q&A with Tommy Tallarico to Fun Amico Conversation with Tommy Tallarico. And the reason that he changed the name of the thread was he said he felt like some of the questions that were being asked in there, quote, were from haters and not in the spirit that he wanted to respect.
People being annoyed they don't have their shit yet.
Right. Or like asking just other tough questions about like, oh, hey, wait a minute. You say that you have your FCC approval for the device, but we can't find the FCC approval on the searchable site for FCC data, and component approvals. We can find it for Playdate. Playdate's approval is in there, but we can't find yours, and you say yours happened. And so he posted in the thread that if people keep on acting like haters, he's going to stop posting. So, shout outs to Tommy Tallarico. I just continue to be baffled by that guy.
The fraud charges have got to start coming, right?
We'll see.
I think it's still conceivable at this point that he gets out of it somehow personally without ever facing any kind of legal reckoning. It'd be very easy for them to go tits up right now and for a lot of their senior leadership to not be necessarily charged with anything. The closest we can get is the fact that there are multiple things in their Edgar filings that directly conflict with reality at the time that they filed. But I'm not sure if anybody's going to be able to find documents or find people willing to go on the record that can prove that there was significant intentional malfeasance with the money, or no one's, I think, going to be able to find evidence that they knew months ago or over a year ago that they were not going to be able to bring this thing to market, and they just continue to raise money anyway. But then again, every time I've thought that they couldn't be that stupid,
they do something else. So
right. Another thing he did earlier this week was brag about how pictures of the boxes for some of the games were now up on Amazon in Germany, where he's look at the game boxes. And literally the first pictures of game boxes he put up, the boxes had been printed wrong. So the name on the front of the box was different than the name on the spine of the box.
Amazing!
Yes. Yeah. So, I say oh, they can't possibly be that dumb to have actually written an email saying this will never come out. Let us continue to raise money. But you know what? Maybe they are that dumb. Also, the other thing I want to talk about, which isn't necessarily a game that I've been playing, is I love the Saints Row series. I really, really do. And it has been a while since there has been a new Saints Row game. We've been kind of in the desert for Saints Row. And a lot of that has to do with just how wildly over the top the last Saints Row game got. I mean, the last Saints Row game literally has the destruction of Earth. The leader of the Saints gang becomes the ruler of the known galaxy. They get a giant time machine. Keith David is the vice president of the United States, and the entire adventure is narrated by Jane Austen.
Yeah, at some level you gotta figure out, I don't know where we go from here. It's gonna take us a while to figure it out.
Right, and that's kind of where they were. And also, Volition had long ago committed to ensuring that they were going to do all of this ridiculous over-the-top stuff while also being mindful of inclusive representation and writing. And so figuring out how to spin all these plates is going to take a while. They revealed at the opening of Gamescom the next Saints Row game, which is essentially a reboot. And I absolutely love what they've shown so far. It looks fucking fantastic. Of course, the only people out there on the internet who seem to be mad at it are tryhards. where like I'm very disappointed that the default represent like the main character in the Saints Row game is always called the boss, just like doesn't have a name, the boss, so that way everybody can call the character boss because it's an avatar character, right? That they're like, I'm very disappointed that like the default representation for the boss is not a white dude. Like the default position of the character creator now is like a black woman. And like in the teaser trailer that they showed like the key member of the new boss's new gang. And like it is definitely in keeping with like what Volition has said their values are. And of course, internet tryhards are angry. But I think that the game looks like it's full of the same wild, over the top, campy, violent bullshit fun time that Saints Row has always been, while like continue to like adhere to like what they've said are their stated values. And I am super stoked. Like I cannot wait to get my hands on new Saints Row. And apparently that is going to be a busy ass week because it's like new Saints Row, New Horizon, and Sifu all come out with like within a week of each other. Like, woo!
Yeah, I hope you're ready with your PTO schedule. You know.
My goodness, like Horizon, Saints Row, and Sifu. Jeez. Like heavy hitters. Like I saw a lot of people joking online, be like, hope nothing else plans to come out that way. Good Lord. Like, but it is intense. I guess I could now shift into like games I've actually been playing. And I think that the first game that I've been playing is a game that both Tegan and I have been playing.
Yes.
Okay.
I did play it.
Tegan, I finished it. Did you finish it?
Yes, I finished it.
Okay. I have a wide variety of feelings. I have a smorgasbord of feelings. What are your feelings, Tegan?
You go first.
Okay.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay. So, I think what animation there is pretty. I was surprised at how little animation there was based on how the game had been
marketed.
Like advertised. Yeah, had been marketed and advertised prior to release. Mm-hmm. There is a particular clip of animation, which is the player character, the protagonist, like sitting in her windowsill with a cup of coffee, which is recycled throughout the game. And it became a more effective chapter break for me than the actual chapter break title cards. It's like, yeah, she in the window with a coffee again. I liked the mood of the game. I found the actual like active like interacting with the canvases to be like mostly pedantic and boring. There's not really room to do much of anything with the canvases because like if you stray outside the line, she just says like a canned line about like, oh, I have to be more careful next time, and it like puts the paint exactly where it should be. And the puzzles that the game offers, which are not directly painting on a canvas, are like very, very simple. I think about halfway through the game, the wheels came off the wagon as far as the plot goes. And like by the time I got to the end of the game, I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? And that all said, I'm very much into the game's mood. Like, I like the way the game feels. Mm-hmm. But I think that, like, the puzzling is, like, very rote in a way that it just feels like just the barest of friction to slow down the player. And the painting doesn't feel like it is as engaging as it could be. There was one particular moment in the game where like the way it's supposed to like read painting strokes wasn't working for me, and like the thing that I had to spend the longest time doing in the game was doing one thing over and over again because I knew what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't reading my input correctly. Which was like I got to a point where I had to like, and Tegan will know why I had to do it. I had to paint a backwards K, and it kept on insisting that I had not painted a backwards K. Mm-hmm. I would paint a backwards K, and then she would go, "That's not it," and I would paint the backwards K again, and go, "That's not it," until eventually, on like the 900th attempt, it's like, "Oh yeah," and then she paints the backwards K.
I painted a frontwards K, and it just flipped it. I got it on the first try.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, okay, J, A. I did that, and then I went K and painted the K the correct way on accident, and it was like, yeah, and just flipped it for me.
Wow.
Because it was just like, okay, this person is like not, they get it, but they don't get it. And I was like, oh, right, and then I have to do the C the other way, because I like forgot, because my A, I guess the way I write my A is backwards from how the like, whoever did the strokes, like,
right,
from their order in particular.
Right.
So I just drew the K normal on accident, not thinking about it, and then they just flipped it.
So, Tegan, what did you think of this video to game?
It was fine. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't amazing. I wish there had been more, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
More to do, but like more...
More of it.
Yeah, more of it. Yeah.
I guess my total playtime on the thing ended up being around 40 minutes from bell to bell, you know?
Yeah.
Same for you?
I think I was 50 minutes, but I did get up for a little bit to, like, feed the cats and that sort of thing.
Right.
57 minutes is how long I spent on it.
Okay. And so this is where I, like I kind of want to, like, contrast this very pointedly to my experience with Fire Tonight, which was also very short. And I kept on saying, like, Fire Tonight just feels like a proof of concept for a game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like a game. It felt like a proof of concept. I don't have that feeling about Behind the Frame. I feel like Behind the Frame is a complete video game. It is a short.
Yeah, I agree.
Complete video game.
Behind the Frame, a complete arc.
Yeah.
I had questions still at the end of it that I wish had been explored.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And I wish that there had been, like, other chapters from other points of view. Like, once I finished the first arc, I wanted it to go back and do The Man in the Window. I wanted to do it, like, from his point of view.
Right.
And that's not what happened.
Right.
But it was still good. I enjoyed it. I will probably buy whatever the next game these guys make is.
Yeah. Like, I don't necessarily feel like there was any dirty pool here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they were operating in good faith. And I think some of the confusion that I had about the story could have been resolved either by simply being longer and I guess hinting more at what they thought was going to be the big reveal, or giving us additional perspectives after that first perspective. I think one of the two, either make her story longer so that way we have more hints about the reveal, or give us like that additional story.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Because there was a moment at the very end where the protagonist is looking at a woman, and I was like, wait a minute, is the woman that she's looking at supposed to be her? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like, I wasn't clear, because we didn't know enough about like why the man was painting. At that point. Yeah, but overall, like, it's a good way to pass a little bit of time.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Which sounds terribly dismissive, and gosh, but like, no, like, I think it's fair. Like, if you just want to like cozy up with something which is not going to be a giant investment of time, like, I think it is a good way to do it.
Yeah, and like for comparison also, I think this is something that I don't think our viewers will care about, but I care about. I played What Remains of Edith Finch for 3.3 hours, and I did not feel like that was a video game. I felt like that was a book that I was, like, looking through. And I only played Behind the Frame for 57 minutes, and that was definitely a game. So, like, length of time doesn't necessarily mean, like, game or not, you know?
Well, yeah.
Right. In fact, I think I'm a long-standing champion of shorter games on this show.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good game. I liked it a lot. I'm interested to see what they do next.
I also played with Townscaper.
What is Townscaper?
Townscaper, I feel like the best way to describe Townscaper is...
Is it like a city builder?
Yeah and no, but like only from like an aesthetic perspective. You're kind of like painting town vistas with like a limited tool set, and you're like doing like big broad strokes.
Oh, okay.
It's not like fine detail work. You're like, fuck, I put a row of houses here, make some of the buildings tall here, that kind of thing. And like you can get like detailed, but it's kind of designed to be played with in the same way that like a yuppie's desktop Zen rock garden is supposed to be played with. You know, the person who gets like the desktop rock garden from like Spencer Gifts.
Yeah.
Or like the little like perpetual motion like ball clacky thingy. Mm-hmm. Like this is that, and it's on Switch, and it was like $5. And I was like, fuck it, I'll make big broad strokes of cities
for $5.
Right. And they're like kind of like they're pitching it as like a relaxation thing. Mm-hmm. And
did it feel zen?
It did. It really did.
Good. That's the important part.
Yeah, it felt like a good way to chill out. I do stress in this case that like I would not describe this as a game. Like, do not go into it looking for like either a narrative experience or a mechanical experience. Think of this as a toy. It is a digital toy. And I think it's a good one. It's fun to sit there and just like do big broad strokes. The controls with the Joy-Cons are fine. Also, it has like a good direct touch interface. So if you just want to sit there with your Switch in your lap, the touch is good too. Mm-hmm. Also played a game called Hoa, which is...
How is Hoa?
It's very cozy.
It looks very good.
Yeah. I thought it was just going to be like a platformer. Mm-hmm. I saw trailers for it, and I was like, so this is a platformer, right? And like, I like platformers. I like 2D platformers. And I thought the animation looked good. I thought the backgrounds looked good, like nice art. And then I got it, and lo and behold, Hoa is a Metroidvania.
Oh.
Yeah.
It gives me big Ghibli vibes.
Yeah.
Ghibli.
That is totally a fair assessment. So it's very much like a low-key, chill, relax Metroidvania, which are like not normally adjectives I associate with that mechanical genre. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah, like, okay, like, you've opened up a new mechanical ability for your character. Awesome. You can double jump now. Like, where can you go now that you have a double jump? Oh, you can get over there now. Isn't that neat? Cool. Like, oh, you've got a little grapple. Where can you go now? You got a little grapple. This part of the map is now accessible. Neat. And, like, there's, like, different, like, large sections of the map. And generally within the large section of the map, there's, like, some large bug. And what you do is you kind of, like, explore around the large bug, finding these stars. And then when you find enough stars, you go back to the large bug, and the large bug will then help you after you like present to them like the little butterfly stars. You're like, here are my butterfly stars, and so you cash in the star butterflies, and it then turns those into a new ability for you.
Okay.
So like the same way that like large areas are often like arrayed in like a Metroidvania to like have a boss in the middle, this instead will like be arrayed to have like a large creature in the middle that will help you advance on your journey. Mm-hmm. Which is part of like why I want to call it like a cozy Metroidvania. Mm-hmm. A lot of the resistance that you encounter in the game isn't necessarily from like antagonists or enemy characters. It'll come from just like either mechanics like jumping or just like light puzzle solving. Thus far I've encountered like very, very few enemies, and like the way that the enemies interact with me is in a non-lethal way.
Oh, okay.
Like I encountered like a little robot man, like a little tiny angry robot man up in a tree, and like what he did was he would rush me and then try and push me off the branch. And
just like, get on my tree.
Right. But like if I fall, I don't die.
That's cute.
I just get shoved off the branch.
Oh, that's nice.
Right.
I like that. Maybe I'll play that.
Yeah, so like I really like the vibe that they're going for. And like this I've never seen this kind of game peddled as a chill out game before. You know, like usually like the emotional vibe of a Metroidvania is very different. like they're a lot more like intense. But like, yeah, like a Chillovania is kind of a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been playing Baldo the Guardian Owls. You want to talk about like your big anime vibes that have like that Miyazaki flavor to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely see it. 100%.
Yeah. This is very, very, very much, hey, friend, do you want to play a Miyazaki-looking Zelda game? The answer is, why, yes, I do. Yes, I do. The dungeon design is very good. Like, the puzzles are just, like, super tight. And the character writing is very engaging. And just, like, it grabbed me right from the jump. I also, one of the things I liked about it is that it allowed me to screw up pretty quickly.
What do you mean?
Okay. So I left my house.
What do you mean it allowed you to screw up quickly?
Okay. So, like, I left my little house, and I went out, traipsing, exploring the world.
Mm-hmm. As one does.
As one does, especially in a Zelda and or Zelda-like game. And so I just started, traipsing south on my map. I'm like, what's down here? And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go in this cave. Hello, cave. And the cave was like, you don't have any of the resources needed to navigate me yet. You're going to get bodied in about 10 seconds.
Oh.
Yes. And I got bodied in about 10 seconds because I didn't have any of the resources necessary for navigating that cave. So, like, a lot like the original Legend of Zelda or, like, Breath of the Wild, it will let you go places where you will get your shit kicked in because you don't have adequate resources to deal with them.
Can I suggest a rephrase?
What's that?
I feel like what you're describing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, is more that you have the freedom to explore and you're simply met with consequences rather than being, like, put on rails.
Okay. I think I like that. I think that might be a better way to communicate it.
Okay.
And, like, for a long time with action RPGs, there's been a lot of just, like, very tightly putting the players on rails.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm not necessarily in love with playing Pirates of the Caribbean or the Hall of Presidents, where I just feel like I'm wandering the space with, like, such limited interactivity, where I'm just, like, spending all my time going, like, okay, where's the baker? I have to give the baker the butter right now. Nothing else matters. Nothing else of consequence will happen. Like, all I can do is give the baker the butter. Sure. And this does not do that. Also, this game has a follow character.
Like Pokemon?
More like Eco for the PS2.
Okay.
There's another person who is with you that you were, like, saying, like, hey, wait here, hey, follow me, that kind of thing. And having somebody following behind you is integrated into, like, the dungeon puzzle solving.
Okay, so like Resident Evil 4.
4 or 5?
No, 5 is the one where you're saving the president's daughter.
Oh, okay, yeah. Flip 4. Okay. 5, the person with you has got a gun and is theoretically well-equipped to deal with this situation.
Right.
I feel like Eco is a better point of comparison.
Sure.
It opens up, like, a different kind of puzzling which is possible in the space. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, okay, well, if I'm here and then the other person is there, then we can do this.
Do you mind elaborating?
Okay. So I encountered a grate, which there was a plate that had, like, a timed return when it went up. So that plate to trigger it would go up for a few seconds and then slam back down. But the grate was far enough back that if I triggered it myself and then ran, by the time I got there, the grate would fall. But beyond it, there was a second grate that I wouldn't be able to trigger at all if I just got through it by having her stand on the first grate. So what I had to do was, like, reorient what would be her path by having her come to me afterwards. So, like, I dragged a box so that way the most direct path was no longer available to her. And I told her to wait on the panel opening the grate. And then I got through, and then I said, hey, come over here. And so because the most direct path was blocked, she had to run around, and she ended up tripping the plate for the second grate.
Okay. So she's more of like, I'm assuming but they're more a AI-controlled...
Right.
Commandable puppet character.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I dig it.
For sure.
I am playing it on iPhone because it launched into Apple Arcade with full controller support. Unlike some other Apple Arcade stuff, it appears to have had a simultaneous launch on other platforms. I think it's $25 everywhere else. But thus far, it seems like it is worth it. What y'all been playing?
Skyward Sword only. Skyward Sword only! Sir.
Okay.
So close to the end. We're so close. And it just got so sad. And I cried a little bit. But I did a very good job of covering it up. So, haha. Nobody knows except me and Jun. Very good. Very excited.
Did you guys notice Tegan cry on stream last week? Vote now on your phones.
Let me know in the comments. I'll clip the exact time that I am actively crying on stream. You'll know. But we'll see if you can tell if I was crying or not. God, it's so good. Brian, please finish this game.
Tegan?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, sometimes things happen.
Yeah, I know things happen, but you played 3-4 other games this week. And you didn't have any time for Breath of the Wild? Or for Skyward Sword? None of it? None time? Not even for one dungeon?
But there were things other than video games that I did too,
But one dungeon.
So what you're saying is that one of the games that I played, I should not have played that game. I should have played Skyward Sword instead.
I'm just saying you should have done one dungeon. Just one. It's so good. I want to talk about it.
You can talk about it, Tegan.
It was sad. No, we don't spoil it. You know how I feel about spoilers.
This will be fun.
You know how I don't feel about them.
Yeah, I know. Go watch Yvonne. It was good. It was very good. We were finally reunited with Zelda, and it was very emotional and appropriate, and I think that's what we're gonna be doing in Breath of the Wild 2. So, I think that's where it's going. But what do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know anything about anything. There's still a bunch of, side stuff I have to do. I haven't given the demon that lives underneath Skyloft any of the gratitude crystals I've gotten. I haven't done, the side quest with Beetle and his special, super rare Beetle thing. I haven't finished up, what's his name? The, tweet guys thing. I don't remember his name. He's, the weak friend. I haven't finished up his quest. That kind of stuff. I haven't been able to get the heckin' baby rattle. I haven't opened up most of the goddess chests we've been able to access. So, I still have a lot of stuff to do, but I am very rapidly approaching the end game where we do have to do, another visit to all of the three, main areas, and then we're gonna do our boss fight. And then we're gonna do a second boss fight, because of course we are. And then we'll be at the end of the game. So, and I am getting my teeth out this week, so I might do that earlier in the week. I might do a Sunday, Monday. You'll find out if I'm doing a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday stream to finish up Zelda before I get my teeth out or not. I don't know at time of recording if I'm doing that or not. Yay!
Oh god.
But yeah, that's it. That's the game I've been playing.
Full disclosure, everyone, I did not expect to have this much time. I thought we were going to be much further along in the recording by the time we got here. So I've added another game to my list that I'm currently playing. I have been playing Tales of Symphonia on stream. Where we are is officially, the real game.
What do you mean the real game?
Yeah, so,
You mean the first freaking 5 weeks I've been watching you play wasn't actually the game.
Well, okay, so
it's
like...
just you suffering and using those stupid wooden swords for 1,000 years.
So it probably didn't need to take that long, to be fair. And I am about 20 hours into the game. But, like, if I hadn't struggled the way I did, it probably would have been closer to, like, 15.
Oh, okay.
But, also, I have met all of the playable characters in the game at this point. They're not all in my party yet, but I have met all of them, and like the actual conceit of the game has been revealed, which is not that you're going with Colette and her journey to become the Chosen, but like the unraveling of like both Crucius, which is essentially what is currently considered as like heaven that's ruled by half-elves, empowered by Crucius crystals, the Desians, which are a half-elf organization that subjugates one of the two parallel worlds, and how they ended up this way in the first place, and what can we do to make a more equitable future for everyone. That's the actual plot of the game. It's not present in the first 15 hours or so, because it's not really important yet, and there are a lot more characters that have a lot more to do with the plot that are revealed over the course of the game, but the pieces are now on the board. We've also met Zelos. Fuck that guy.
I hate him. I hate him so much. Brian, you have to meet Zelos. He's terrible.
I think he'd give Brian a laugh, but he'd also hate him very much.
Oh, yeah, no. He's like a pretty boy douchebag.
He is a pretty boy douchebag. He is the chosen of the parallel world that you end up in once you realize there are two parallel worlds. And he is a very inactive chosen because he doesn't have to save his world because his world's not in decline. He just has to hang out and make sure it doesn't get fucked up. So he spends most of his time, womanizing and glad-handing across the country or whatever. But, the Pope is trying to take over the kingdom, so he has an enemy in him, and when the opportunity struck, he was declared an enemy of the state, like the rest of my party, which we were probably actually enemies of the state anyways. But now he travels with us, and he fits very well into the slot left by another character that has recently betrayed us. So he can use all his gear and all of his skills. So if you were upset that you lost that character, here you go. But he's a pretty boy douchebag.
Mm-hmm. But he's absolutely insufferable.
Yeah, I hate that guy. And so, I've decided to not use him on this run. I do want to say there is an opportunity later to get Kratos back in the party, and you have to choose between Kratos and Zelos. And, that choice will be easy for me, but it's a thing that I have to do. It requires a bit more work. But I do very much like the game where it is now. Because one of the things that I've gotten and will continue to get is faster ways of traversing the world map. Because, in the first 15 hours, I have to walk over the overworld, with the exception of when I find these, pillars that, enable me to, ride on my dog Noish. But, now I have a boat, I can cross the seas, and I don't have to ask anyone about it. Later on, I will get airships that will allow me to just fly across the map whenever I want to.
Oh, that'll be really nice.
Yeah, and so, the game is, very much opening up at this point into, why people believe it's one of the best games of the Tales series alone, ever made. Also, we've met Persea and Regal, but Tegan probably couldn't pick Regal out of a lineup right now. But Persea, who's, very much the best character in the game, but she requires some investment, which is a really fun thing to do, especially when you're playing this game with other people. Since every character is, controllable, you could just give someone Persea and just watch them slowly become a monster. So, that's the thing that'll happen over the long term. I'm excited to continue playing the game, and I don't think I will actually finish in time to do Tales of Arise Day 1. But I really hope that Tales of Arise feels more like this than, say, Tales of Xillia, or whatever they're doing with the Tales of games on mobile. And speaking of games being online and diving directly into legal snafus, I am further down the rabbit hole for Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and I feel like all the major mechanics have been put into play. And so when I'm doing this fourth case, it feels like the entire Great Ace Attorney experience, for the most part. I start with an investigation, rather than being thrust into a middle of a case. And I get to investigate, I talk to people, there's a great deduction from Herlock Sholmes, where he walks into a place and reads a bunch of reactions and make a bunch of assumptions that are wrong. But then you get to investigate and, course correct and make it so that you can identify the actual facts and get actual clues. And then I go to court, and so the trial after the fact has a jury that like immediately turns against me, and then I get to turn the jury against themselves, not just in contradictions, but also just connecting the ideas that they have that show that the case needs to continue. And that's really cool. And it's very much like snatching another chance from the jaws of defeat. And I am in the middle of my second summary examination where the entire jury has decided to vote guilty, and then I have to talk to them to say, please don't end the case now, there's things we need to discover. But there's also weird, goofy shit now. Like, there's an actual person on the jury that should be a sworn witness. And I realize now that the third act of this case is going to be putting the pieces in play so that I can pull this person off the jury stand, so I can have her give a statement and then cross-examine her, which, like, in modern day would literally never happen. Like, they're just like, oh, you know this person? Oh yeah, I'm his landlord. Then you can't be on the jury. But this is, like, Victorian London. I guess they hadn't figured that out yet. So that's a fun thing that I'm gonna have to dance around for a while. Also, there's, like, this weird thing where there's, like, a landlord, and he has his wife pose as his maid in public in order to...
What?
Yeah, I know.
That's gross. What?
Yeah. No, apparently in Victorian London, or whatever era of London this is, if you are part of the middle class, your defining characteristic isn't a nice car or a fence or anything. It's your ability to hire household staff. Mm-hmm. And this guy is a former army vet that should have retired with some amount of money, for some reason doesn't, and now, like, subsists on, like, his wages by renting out, like, the lower 2 floors of his building, and he keeps up appearances by having his wife pose as his maid whenever there are visitors to his home. So, like, now I'm in court, sorry, the wife is the one that's on the jury, and I'm trying to get this person to admit that she's this person's wife so I can talk about other stuff. And that was a pain in the ass. But even now that that's done, I still need her on the stand. And when I said that, people got reasonably upset. And so now I have to do other stuff. Also, like, there's a very, like, continuous, like, undertone of, like, not just the British as a whole, but, like, especially, like, the British female characters in the game that are, like, shown to, like, vehemently hate the Japanese in a really gross way. Like, if I had played this instead of, like, watching Doctor Who, I would have, like, vehemently hated the British for, like, an obscene amount of time. They really did them dirty in this game. But, I don't know, maybe they were like that to foreigners. It sounds right to me. It reminds me of, like, that 70s show and the way they treated Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
But, like, this fourth case feels like the full, like, Grade Ace Attorney experience that has been, like, pieced up in, like, digestible chunks beforehand. Like, the first one, it's just a case. And then the second one, it's just an investigation with, like, the great deduction parts. And then the third one was another case, but it's your first jury case. And now this fourth one is all of it. Investigation, great deduction, trial, jury case, playing with the jury. And I think the big twist is going to be I got to take one of the jury members and put them on the stand, which is a lot. And once again, like, Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is 2 Grace Attorney games, like, put together. So, like, I'm still, like, on the 4th case of the first game, and I don't know what the rest of it's gonna be like. But it's nuts. And I'm having a great time.
Very cool.
Sounds like a good time, honestly.
Yeah. Also, my raid group got through Titan. I'm not gonna talk about it, but shout outs to my raid group. What up?
You should talk about it.
Why are we not talking about it?
Because everyone hates when I talk about Final Fantasy XIV. That's the whole thing.
Rude.
Rocky,
Rude.
Rocky, I was going to say, I hardly think that I qualify as everyone.
So you're not denying it. You hate it, don't you, Brian? Just tell me.
Yeah, I hate it so much. But, like,
Got him.
I think it's part of the core content of this show.
All right, fine. So, for people who are familiar with Final Fantasy XIV, we are fighting Ultima Weapon, but not just Ultima Weapon. It is a highly exaggerated, extremely bullshit version of the fight, which is Ultima Weapon Ultimate, where you basically run through a gauntlet of the bosses near the end of A Realm Reborn. Also, shoutouts to the A Realm Reborn anniversary this past week. 8 years. Amazing. So you end up fighting against Garuda, Ifrit, and Titan, and then you fight against Ultima Weapon Ultimate after it eats the 3 affirmation bosses, and you have to fight all their abilities at once.
That sounds like bullshit.
It was bullshit. It is bullshit. Still happening. So I want to say the skill check, but it's not just skills, because it's not just mechanics, it's cooperation. Because that's what this is. It's intense cooperation. The cooperation check for this fight is fighting against Titan. And it's because Titan has a lot of really heavy-hitting, unforgiving mechanics in a stage that continuously gives you less room to play with and requires more precision, knowledge, and execution from you as a group, as opposed to, like, individual players. Like, a big thing about a lot of raiding in most other games is that if someone is so out of control, they can usually carry. But, like, raiding in Final Fantasy XIV specifically requires everyone to be on point. That, like, if you have 8 people who have to do this thing, if one of them has no idea what's going on, that's enough to sink the entire fight. And Titan itself is more difficult to practice because the Titan section of the fight happens 7 minutes into the fight.
Oh, Jesus. So you gotta get through the first 7 minutes before you can even practice the part that you're stuck on?
Right. So, like, with Garuda, like, for example, we've pretty much figured out Garuda in the space of a week, or, like, 6 hours of play, because you start with Garuda. So, like, we had essentially 6 hours of practice. But we've been stuck on Titan for about 6 weeks, and it's because we get very limited time with Titan whenever we're there, and we have to fight through all the other stuff, and there's a billion things you have to remember about the other things. I talked before about how our team had been trying to fight with, like, the Titan mechanics specifically, but there were also a couple of things that our group had been trying to manipulate or, like, work on for the previous stage of the fight that make things easier. Like, for example, Ifrit has a thing where it tags the healers with a debuff that not only, like, damages them over time, but does a huge knockback in a really big area so they can't be near the rest of the party. And the general strategy is that you have one healer break off from the group and run to, like, the other end of the stage and then resolve their mechanic and then rotate around again. And the second healer is getting debuffed at the same time, so they're kind of moving all the way around the stage. But since both healers are casters, they can't deal damage during that time because they have to keep moving, and you can't stand still and cast. This especially hindered our white mage, who literally doesn't have that kind of spell. I have one of them, but it's less damage, and, like, that's the trade I get for moving, but he can't deal damage at all. So he suggested that what we do is that instead of going all the way around twice for both of us, one of us just goes one way and the other goes the other way, because there are safe spots in cardinal directions, and there is a measure of distance that we can get away from the party so that the knockback doesn't hit them. That way we can move half, or in some cases a quarter as long, and you can spend the rest of that time just standing there dealing damage. And that was a really helpful adjustment. Like, we actually shaved a lot of time fighting Ifrit off of our practice time, which translated into a lot more time messing around with Titan. And, there is one skill that I had been using at the wrong time, like, the entire time we've been doing the fight.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's an ability that scholars have called Change Stratagem that, like, boosts crit rate, but it puts it on the boss. So everyone that hits the boss gets a boosted crit rate, which everyone benefits from. But I was using it, like, right when the fight started because I knew I needed to get it out and I didn't want to think about it. But now that I've had more time to think about the fight as a whole, I realized that, like, a lot of, like, the damage dealers, like, openers don't happen on, like, the first second of the fight, but maybe about 20 seconds in. Or, like, on the 5th GCD for the people who are in the know. So when I thought about it, like, I started talking to my team, and I was like, hey, guys, I've been thinking about how to use Change Stratagem, and, like, when I fixed it at the beginning of the fight, I knew that there was an immediate damage increase for everyone, so that was correct. But since it's on a cooldown, generally, like, the rule is to, like, use it, like, right when it's off cooldown. But when I started to think about it, I was like, that didn't seem right. Because there were some situations where it would come off cooldown, and I'd use it immediately, and we wouldn't get the full duration. Like, we get like 12 of 15 seconds, or like 9 of 15 seconds, and that's just wasted damage. Like, we should be putting it somewhere else. So I was like talking to the groups, like, hey, when does your reopener come up in like the Ifrit fight or the Titan fight? Should I be holding on to this? And after talking with them, I got a better idea of where it should be placed later on in the fight, whether I hold it for like a minute or like 30 seconds, but it like led to more noticeable increases in damage overall. And we also started talking about other stuff in terms of like movement and positioning that allowed us to cooperate a bit more fully. And we got through Titan this past week. And like Titan is like the section of the fight where most groups that like form exclusively to take on this fight give up. Like they get stuck and they can't figure anything out. They don't find a way to like resolve the mechanics or like deal with the fight as a whole, and it just becomes so frustrating to get there every single time that like they never get through it and they just quit. But we got through it, which means we're on track to do the real fight against Ultima Weapon Ultimate, which is like another 10 minutes of shenanigans. But we're studying that, and I've seen it a couple of times, but since a lot of the mechanics are recycled, we know a lot of it. There are some adjustments that we'll need to make and some unique mechanics that we need to like dive through. But like after we see it like a few times, it should be easier to deal with.
From what I understand, like the main strategy in a fight like this is to don't stop, make it pop, blow the speakers up, fight till you see the sunlight, and just tick-tock on the clock.
Yeah, for the most part.
Right.
That's a very succinct summary, actually.
There we go. Kesha always knew.
God, I hope Dr. Luke like finally ends up in prison forever or whatever.
I want to exist in a timeline where Dr. Luke and Tommy Tallarico are cellmates.
I think we can work on that. I think that's something we can put together.
Like, that's the dream. That's the dream. That's a small part of the dream. Mm-hmm. But it's a good part. Mm-hmm. It's a vital part. Another vital part of the dream is acknowledging our patrons.
Oh, yeah.
And to our patrons, I say, I'm sorry. I should have acknowledged you last week, but I didn't. And it's especially worse because you know what, Rocky? We have a brand new patron.
Yeah, we do. It's true.
We do?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Thanks to Joshua Reza for signing up. We appreciate it. Helping to make it all possible. Cover our hosting costs and put together great new content. And in fact, I'm going to mention another upcoming Patreon exclusive episode because I fear if I mention it on the podcast, I may in fact shame Rocky into editing it.
Hey, I am currently editing it. I just have a lot of work to do. Fuck off, Brian. Okay,
then I will eat that fuck off as a well-earned fuck off. How about this? I'm teasing it for our patrons.
Delicious. Eat it up.
Patrons, we have a thing.
It's true.
Okay, there we go. Is that better? Patrons, we have a thing.
We have a thing, it's true.
It's about the history of failed handhelds.
It was very interesting.
So, thanks to Joshua Reza, and thanks to Tuan Castillo, and Oscar Garcia, and perennial friend of the show, Big Sach. We heart you so deeply. I feel like it's been too long since we've had Sach on this show. I think we need to I think we need more Sach. The kid brother of the show needs to come back. Joe Spiro, who I think might be this show's grandfather.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Said a thing this week on Twitter that broke my brain, and
I think you actually submitted a question too.
Yeah, it's the question that broke my brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he asked a question about mechanical and emotional difficulty, and I guess I have a response. I think.
Okay, well, for context, you have to read the question.
It's true.
Oh, fuck.
And then you can discuss the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
fuck.
it's not fair to our other listeners if you just say, I think I have an answer, and then never tell them what the question is.
That's all. Everything you're saying is real.
I know! I'm often right.
Okay. So, actually, Joe asked 2 questions of us.
Okay.
One was easier than another. The first question he asked us, the easy one, was he asked us, like, what places we're going for now, each one of us, for our game criticism. Where are we reading game criticism? What game critics are we actively consuming? And so that's his first question. Like, where do we go? Who are our game critics of choice?
I don't listen to critics. So, no one. None critics for video games. I don't listen to any critics of video games. I listen to critics for anime, not video games.
You know, I don't have any like issue with critics, but I actually just don't indulge them for the most part, unless it's literally about something that I've never heard of. And at that point, it's not a continuous relationship.
Mm.
And more often than not, when I do indulge a critic in that particular way, it's more so because I've never heard of the thing, and then I go investigate for myself. Good examples would be like Schreier with Crosscode. I think it was Klepek that introduced me to Bug Fables. And there's someone who mentioned the updates to Dondora. And I was just like, huh. And like, so I look into the stuff, but I don't really, oh, this is going to be kind of mean, but value their criticism? I guess that's not what I'm going to them for.
Oh, I was going to say, like, the 2 fellows that you mentioned are primarily known for their news writing, not their criticism. So
Correct. Yeah,
I guess that checks out. I guess you've got other business with those gents.
Mm-hmm.
I do value criticism.
That checks out.
I have a perennial favorite whose work I've valued for years and continue to value, which is Jonathan Holmes. And I like most of his writing these days doesn't actually seem to happen at Destructoid, but instead Nintendo Force magazine. Like every so often I get a paper magazine in the mail about things that happen on the Switch. It will inevitably include like criticism by Jonathan Holmes because it feels like there was a gap in so many people's heart when Nintendo Power shut down, including apparently Jonathan Holmes' heart. I also find a great deal of value in the writing of Zoe Handley. I think that she covers weird stuff well. I like the way she targets niche things, and she also often writes about games years after they've come out, so that way they have more time to like settle into like a cultural role as opposed to just like the immediate static of like what they mean only in the context of release. And I like that kind of writing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think about stuff like, well, what will people feel about Boyfriend Dungeon 3-5 years from now? It's inevitably going to be very, very different than the conversation that happened around the release. You know, like that stuff's interesting to me. Like it continues to like torment my brain how much higher I am on Super Mario Odyssey than I was during like the conversation around it as like a new release.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I was like, fuck. Like every time I ever touch Super Mario Odyssey, spend any time with Super Mario Odyssey, it only rises in my esteem. I love that game, and that's where I think that like that kind of like long horizon criticism has value.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ash Parrish's work. She absolutely does not take any shit. Like Ash Parrish and Gita Jackson don't have time for your bullshit.
Gita's cool.
Oh yeah, like she's fucking fantastic. It's like I have strong recommend on both of them, and I also am like a big fan of like just these wonks that like get into like really deep and abstract deconstruction of games, and Jacob Geller, for my money, is one of the best at that. He did a video essay about the way Dark Souls 3 specifically intersects with the way that people relate to memories.
I could buy that.
And yeah, and like, you know, as I ingested that, like it was one of those things that's just like, man, like I have never felt as much like I want to play Dark Souls.
Just play Dark Souls 3. It's actually a really great entry point to the series.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is the best one. Dark Souls 3 is the best one.
That's what he contends as well, Tegan.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. Dark Souls 3 is the best one.
Yeah.
Alex just beat New Game Plus 7 on Dark Souls 3.
Sick.
What the hell does that even mean? New Game Plus 7?
Okay, so he beat the game, and then he did New Game Plus, and then he did that 7 more times.
So is it like somehow ratcheting up the difficulty each time?
No.
Yeah. Well, sort of.
I think like some enemies hit harder, but like you keep your stats, and like they like always go up.
Yep.
Okay.
Some of their speeds change also.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Like enemy speeds, not your speed, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to like goofy old man shit, hey, like look at this new Sega Genesis game, or gosh, like this box for like sending signal from an old video game device to a modern television. What is it doing? John Hancock. John Hancock has this vibe because what he is by day is a high school science teacher. And so he has that like warm vibe of an enthusiastic high school teacher. And so like there's like a certain like that is like a certain particular kind of ray of sunshine. So I like that. So like those are some of the people that like I most enjoy ingesting what they have to say. Like there's one which is like a huge go-to for me, but at this point his work is more like drifting more toward like work as a historian than as a critic. But like if Jeremy Parrish does open his mouth to talk about like the individual quality of a game outside of contextualizing it historically, I am going to pay the fuck attention. Like I definitely go to him for like historical stuff, but I also if he chooses to talk about a game I care about, hear what he has to say. So like I guess that was the easy question asked by Joe this week. What critics do you go to? The harder thing that Joe asked was Joe talks a lot. He had to thread this question. Though it got heated, I enjoyed the discussion of Boyfriend Dungeon. I think a lot of it can be further discussed through the lens of accessibility, elective difficulty, which has always consisted of changes for those who need them and those who merely want them. Both discourses tend to arrange around two poles on a scale of honoring artist intent, namely, some art is just not for people outside of its knowable and intended audience, and art should be entirely bendable to abilities and taste of the consumer. Obviously, there are points in between on the spectrum, but I think it's safe to say that Tegan and Rocky are nearer B regarding story, while I think Rocky is nearer A and Brian near B regarding difficulty, execution, and accessibility. Given these parallel frameworks, what would make you place yourself in different spots regarding different forms of this discourse? For me, I tend to lean more toward A on both scales, warn people about content and mechanics, and make all possible accessibility options up to the point of compromising the thesis of the art, aka no skipping dialogue in Boyfriend Dungeon and no difficulty sliders in Dark Souls, thereby painting a huge target on myself. Last thing, I was thinking about this recently in regards to indoor rock climbing, which uses color-coded routes, making it unusable to the colorblind, and this should be fixed But at the other end, the sport could not be made accessible to people without limbs who, in a world where they exist, fundamentally choose not to use cybernetic prosthesis. And, like, I just had so many thoughts about this.
Can't believe I got baited. I swear to God.
What do you mean, Rocky? Like, how did you get baited?
Nothing. We'll talk about it later.
Wait a minute.
Let's tackle the question.
Rocky, you just made it content, and now you're trying to retreat from being content. Come on.
It's not content.
This is a safe space. We talked about the Final Fantasy 14. Come on.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean, but it's okay.
Oh, wait, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I guess Joe has a question.
Mm-hmm. Several, actually, but...
Yeah, he did. He did not stop. There was lots of cowbell there. I guess before we dig too far into this, I just want to go ahead and thank Sighard Albrecht, a.k.a. the premier waifuologist Sig, for being this patient, for waiting for his shout-out as we've been digging through this.
Sig, I'm sorry.
I don't want to get through like Joe's exhausting question. Be like, well, I guess we're done with shout-outs, so I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. So Joe has 97 questions for us. What are y'all's bead on it?
I do think I'm closer on the end of preserving artist intent, and specifically their thesis when it comes to mechanics, because I think that's what video games are, or rather their defining characteristic. Not necessarily just mechanics, but interactability. And the way that you interact with mechanics is meaningful. And I think it's unique to video games, unlike story, where, like, story has various ways that you can interact with it, or more importantly, there are various other kinds of media that ask you to interact with stories in particular, or, you know, choose your own adventure ways. And so I feel like for the integrity of video games, mechanics should be preserved as a rule, even sometimes at the cost of accessibility. I think I am closer to what Joe is referring to as end B of the spectrum when it comes to story, because I think stories are less unique part of video games, even though video games do contain very great stories. But I think, as a rule, video games can be more flexible about story in terms of artist intent, because there are other ways to tell their stories. But yeah, for mechanics specifically, I am closer to hardlining, and I've been revising my position over the years, honestly. But I think that a video game and the way that they want you to interact with it, which also does include story, if that is their thesis, then they shouldn't compromise on it. But generally speaking, if it's not, if video games are asking you to do a thing and this is its point, then, like, why you're doing it or the story is there can be a bit more flexible. I think that's my position. If I had to shift it, I think it would have to be if for some reason what the game is trying to convey isn't specifically tied to its mechanics. And for that, I would point to something more like... Well, I guess What Remains of Edith Finch is one of them, but it's not my favorite example. There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension is a good example, because the game's mechanics are designed to, like, kind of get you through them, for the most part. Or Sayonara Wild Hearts is another good example, because it's more about the interactive experience of, like, moving through the story, experiencing the visuals, and, like, enjoying, like, the aesthetic appearance of, like, the game. And so, like, if you're getting stuck because you're missing a button press, the game's not about its button presses. So, like, allowing you to move past them isn't actually compromising their thesis or their vision. And so those are places where I'm willing to bend. But generally speaking, I think mechanics should be held to their standard if that's what the creator wants, because generally that's what they're making. But in the cases where they are not, if that's not their ultimate goal, then if bending on those things makes it so that more people experience what they're actually trying to say, then that's fine.
Okay. Tegan.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I did reply on Twitter. So...
Just read Tegan's reply, Brian. Jesus.
You know.
Okay.
What I said on Twitter was, as long as it's well telegraphed and consumers understand, I don't care what goes into your art. I'm not about policing it. I just want to know ahead of time if it's an experience for me before I invest the time and money, essentially. Otherwise, I'm just going to look at your fandom from afar and go, look at them enjoying that thing, because it's none of my business, you know? And I do think as long as people have proper knowledge to consent to an experience, then it's fine. It's just making sure that people understand what they're agreeing to. Like with a haunted house, you know? You read and sign a waiver. There are plenty of opportunities to opt out of the experience once you start it. Like, you know, I don't think it's that hard. I think people have to put more care into considering what they're willing to warn people about and how they're willing to warn them.
So, like, one of the things that got me thinking here was his specific example about color blindness and rock climbing.
Sure.
I don't know anything about rock climbing.
It's cool.
I mean, as far as I can tell, as someone who does not rock climb, they're just colored so you can see them. I didn't know those were routes.
Sometimes they do route.
I thought they were just colorful rocks on a wall, because otherwise it's boring to look at. That's it.
And it made me think about The Witness.
Okay.
Because in The Witness, each part of the island contains a group of puzzles which are based on like a single driving mechanic for that area. Each area has rules. And one of the areas, the rules for the puzzles are entirely driven by color.
Right.
And when the game came out, Jonathan Blow was asked, like, why don't you have a colorblind mode? And he said, because the area is about color, a colorblind person can finish the game without finishing that area, because you don't need to finish every area in order to, like, get into the mountain and do the end of the game.
That's true.
Right. And when that happened, he caught a lot of shit for it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think he deserved it, but I think he had the right to stick to his guns there.
Right. And so, like thinking about that also got me thinking about what is necessarily any given creator of like a so-called difficult video game trying to accomplish when they make a difficult video game. And I think the answer is it's different in each case. And what is necessarily their objective in making it difficult? Like, what is their reason for making it difficult? Because, like, one of the things that, like, Joe says in, like, you know, talking about this is, like, what's core to the designer's thesis statement? And, like, in some cases, like, games are difficult simply because designers think that in the particular genre of game that they're developing in, or the particular market segment that they're targeting, difficult games sell better, or difficult games are more attractive to a larger market. So, like, the game is difficult not because of any personally held conviction or artistic idea. It's because they thought that was supposed to happen naturally. Like, a good example of that is there are a lot of, like, pixel platformers out there, like retro-styled platformers, where the developer makes the game balls hard because they're like, well, these games, this market segment is balls hard. That's what people want. And it's not necessarily tied to like an idea that they have. And then some appears to be that like part of the thesis, the creator, is that like it should be frustrating, it should be difficult, you should have to go back to the drawing board a lot, you know, like whenever you're trying to do something, but it should be all of those things, but it should still ultimately be surmountable, right? Like you should be able to string your skills together in a way to ultimately accomplish it, even if there is a bunch of failure on the front end. And that's where I look at like the way, say, Celeste managed its accessibility features, where they had like lots of fine tuning they can do the player can do in the options. It's not simply just like a one binary switch, which is like make Celeste fucking float. You know, like there's all kinds of very, very fine options that can be done. So that way, like if a player finds himself in a space where they just like come up against the wall, they're like, Like, I just can't, like, either, like, my reaction time is slow enough at my age, or I never had the reaction time, or my eyesight isn't what it should be. Like, if there's some fundamental thing, like, physical barrier which is preventing me from executing, like, the wide array of options they made available mean that the player could still have that experience of, like, being very frustrated, but then getting over the hump. And I guess, like, that's part of the thing. Like, is getting over the hump part of it? And with Celeste, like Rocky was talking earlier about games where, like, narrative is part of the propulsive thesis of the game, and, like, is it, like, the way it, like, explicitly discloses narrative. Celeste explicitly tells us its story. Unlike Dark Souls, Celeste is not, like, fucking burying its story in, like, item descriptions. Right? Like the story, like, explicitly plays out on the screen. So, like, it wants us to know the story of this woman on this mountain. Dark Souls, you have to, like, put out an all points bulletin for the story and, like, read shit.
I mean, that's because, like, Dark Souls, like, mostly isn't about the story.
Right.
Like, the story's there if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
It's not like, this is an in-depth storytelling game. It's like, this game's fucking hard. This game is hard, and it's gonna make you fucking throw your controller across the room. Get ready. People are like,
Yeah, bet.
And so, like, this is where I circle back to, like, I guess the idea of, like, the thesis of the game. And that, like, there can be different kinds of, like, authorial intent when it comes to difficulty. And so, like, I'm now going to divide difficult games into 3 general categories. Well, you know what? 4 general categories. Category 1, I didn't bother to think about it in the context of player experience. I made the game hard because I, the developer, am living in a bubble, and I am my only meter for the difficulty of this game. So, like, this is people who don't have, like, colleagues, friends, or employees to play test. They're just exist in their own bubble, so they don't even know that it's hard.
Because they can do it.
Right.
It matches up to their personal skill level.
Right. They have not contextualized it against player experience. So we're going to call those the bubble people. Group 1 is the bubble people. It doesn't necessarily have to do with authorial intent, just they live in a bubble.
Or, like, they're first-time developers and they don't realize it. Because
Right.
they're new and they're making mistakes.
Right. Group 2, the people who think this is what the market wants. They don't necessarily have any driving personal vision associated with it. They just think that the market wants a hard game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They've seen how well The Binding of Isaac sells. They've seen how well Super Meat Boy sells. They're like, I want to get me that hard game money. Group 3, they want the experience to be difficult, but ultimately surmountable. That for them, the developer, the intended experience is, this should be hard. You shouldn't get this on your first try. This should take several tries, but you should be able to get this. And then group 4 is no apologies. Not everyone is going to be able to get this. This might just not be for you, dog.
I don't understand the difference between 3 and 4.
And in the words of Yoda, this is why you fail.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. The idea is that 4 doesn't care if there are players who simply can't complete the task. Like, that's the difference between 3 and 4. Part of the 3's objective, part of 3's design thesis is that, like, this should be difficult, this should be frustrating, but everyone should ultimately be able to complete this task.
Okay.
4 doesn't give a fuck if there are players who can't complete the task.
Okay.
Okay, are you with me now?
I understand what you're saying.
Cool. And so I guess my question now is, like, I have an answer for Joe and a question for the assembled forum.
I knew it.
My answer to Joe is, like, I have come around to his idea for less accessibility if games are in group 4. If games are in group 4, fine, be that way. That's your choice. That's your vision. There's plenty of art out there that I know is not for me, and I choose to not consume it. There's a multimedia artist out there named Damien Hirst. I fucking hate everything Damien Hirst does. His work is complete dog shit to me. I want to destroy it with my mind. But I don't write Damien Hirst a letter saying Damien Hirst, please make art that I like. I recognize that what Damien Hirst does is not for me. So if somebody is in group 4 and their game is called Fuck You Clubhouse, then I do not insist upon membership to the Fuck You Clubhouse. So I guess that is where I have reflected. Now, if the designer's intent is group 1 through 3, then those designers should consider what kind of accessibility will create the experiences that they're looking for. Group 1, get a playtester. Group 2, go read a shit ton of Steam reviews for games which are in the genre that you're developing. Do you really need to be hard to sell? Group 3, how can you create that friction while ultimately making it defeatable for everybody? What do you need to do to make that possible? Group 4, fine, fuck it, don't do a damn thing. So now the question I have to float to the group.
Wait, hold on. I'm not sure you answered Joe's question.
He's asking me what it would take for me to change my position.
Okay.
Right?
I guess. Okay, so...
And so if he's asking what it would take for me to change my position, it's further subdividing difficult games into 4 categories and saying, since I have, in the past, taken, a pretty vocal stance around accessibility, I now acknowledge the existence of, difficult games whose thesis is...
This is hard.
Some of you can't beat this game, motherfucker. Okay. Fuck yourself. And, I will accept. Fuck yourself as a thesis statement. Doesn't mean I like the thesis statement.
Okay, so that's half of his question. Because he definitely did ask about what would it take for you to change your position on accessibility when it comes to mechanics in video games. But he also asked, what would it take for you to change your position on accessibility when it comes to narrative in video games? And you took a very strong stance regarding specifically Boyfriend Dungeon, where they decided these are parts of the story. This is what we want to tell. And there are definitely people out there who vehemently argued that this story should not be this way. I want to consume it. And I understand that you have that position, but the question was, what would it take for you to change?
I want to make it clear, I don't think Boyfriend Dungeon should change their story.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be well informed as a consumer of the story they are trying to tell, what I will experience during it, and whether or not I consent to that experience. Because since I know now that there is stalking and drugging in that game, I know it's not for me. I don't need to, that's not an experience for me. It's not something I want to interact with.
Right.
And that's fine. And, if other people are fine interacting with that, good for them. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna admire from afar, but I'm not gonna change my stance on, that needs to be explicitly told.
Right.
That's not cool. You know?
Right.
Psychonauts also has a very good, heads up at the beginning of their show. They're like, hey, here's what the game is good. There's a lot of stuff. We try to address it respectfully, but also in a lighthearted way. But if you're not into, dental stuff, maybe don't play our game, because there's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And, okay, cool. I do know some people who are very not okay with dental stuff, and, they're not going to play the game now. And that's fine. It's good that they had that opportunity to opt out of the game.
Right. I think that when it comes to accessibility from this perspective, one of the things I know I lamented in our conversation around Boyfriend Dungeon was specifically the way that the word consent is being used. Because consent in, the current discourse has a very specific meaning, and so I thought that the way that consent was being used was being abused and wasn't specific to the spirit of the word. That said, it made me think about what Tegan is talking about, which I would call informed purchasing. If I go to the store and I buy a box of fucking Raisin Bran and I then open that box of Raisin Bran to find a bunch of rusty razor blades and dog shit inside,
mm-hmm.
then I'm pissed. I'm going to be pissed because the front of the box before any money had changed hands said Raisin Bran, not rusty razor blades and dog shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the front of the box said rusty razor blades and dog shit, I'd be like, okay, that's a bold choice, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. Then I just wouldn't buy the box.
Sure.
Don't eat dead dove inside. That is it. That is what I am asking for. Don't eat dead dove inside. I don't feel like that's a big ask.
Right, and so, okay.
Yeah, and Boyfriend Dungeon said in its Kickstarter, "Hello, we are a dungeon crawler. You will be able to date your weapons, and it will be very sexy." And that's all it said. And we were like, cool. And then I looked at that game, and I went, oh, no, that's not all that's here. There's a very explicit situation that I don't want to partake in. And, like, I am very glad I did not buy that game, because the only way I would have gotten a refund was through Steam.
And
that's not where I wanted to play that game.
Right. So here's, I guess, two thoughts. One is I think there is an onus on the part of game publishers who are, putting out games to ensure that the content warnings in their games are specific and clear, right? And so that way, just like, here you go. Here is the content warning for this video game. It is specific and it is clearly stated. And I think another thing, because I was thinking about this from another perspective, if you went into the Kroger, Tegan, and you bought that box of Raisin Bran and you got it home and you opened the Raisin Bran and inside was a bunch of rusty razor blades and dog shit, would you pick up your phone and try and find a telephone number for General Mills to yell at them? Or would the first thing you do be go back down to the Kroger and yell at the Kroger?
I mean, I'd probably call General Mills and then go to the Kroger, because if the box is wrong, like, that's a problem, But, like, hello, General Mills, are you aware that there is, like, a food hazard in your food that you're trying to sell me for breakfast? I'm also gonna go, like, do you want me to send this back to you so you can see what I'm talking about? And if not, like, cool, I'm gonna go down to Kroger and I'm gonna go, hello, I bought this box and it's full of automobile parts and that's not delicious crunchy cereal. And the grocery store would probably be like, yeah, you're right. All right, here's your money back.
Okay, so definitely engaging with Kroger is going to be part of your process.
Yeah, because I think the first part of my process is definitely like, hey, like, there needs to be a consumer warning on this if this is intended. And they're going to go, yes or no. Right. And then, regardless, I'm still going to try and get my money back.
And when we look at, like, retail in so many other spaces, there is a level of scrutiny that, like, retailers at scale commit to before, like, adding something to, like, the inventory of products that they themselves will sell. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Best Buy has not committed to carrying the Intellivision Amico. I wonder why. Like...
It sounds like they're making a very smart business decision, honestly.
Right. So there's a level of scrutiny to the things which are sold by retailers. And now, video game platform holders, like, I'm now talking about, like, your Valve, your Microsoft, your Sony, your Nintendo, your Apple, etc. Platform holders are already applying a level of scrutiny to games before they're flipping the switch and letting them onto the platform. And that level of scrutiny right now is simply just like, okay, are we able to completely execute this game without it, like, horribly crashing? All right, fine, flip the switch, sell it on the store. And I think that, like, if every developer or every publisher committed to putting a content warning onto the platform holder's storefront page, number one, I think that would probably create a better artistic experience for the player, because that means that, like, the content warning, which is ideally not part of the prism of the experience itself, like, put the fucking content warning on the goddamn storefront page. So that way, like, somebody like Tegan, who doesn't want to have games which have stalking and drugging in them, can just go to the fucking storefront page, and it's like, Boyfriend Dungeon contains stalking and drugging. And then she can say,
okay, not for me, thank you.
Right,
remove
because
from the list.
If I've bought the game, then that ship has sailed. It means I have already made the purchase, and the purchase was uninformed. So I think that where we are here is what I want is, I guess, less content warnings folded into the body of the text, so to speak, and I want that pushed into the platform space, and I want publishers to submit a content warning to the store, and then part of the clearances process for the platform holder is like they take a look at the content warning that was submitted to them by the publisher, and then the person who's responsible for checking the box and says like this can go on the store is, does the content warning match the one that was submitted by the publisher?
And you know who could, you know what? We have a fucking regulatory body who's supposed to be doing that shit.
Nah, they're not gonna.
It's the goddamn ESRB!
They're not really supposed to be doing that shit.
But that's something that they could implement. That's an easy implementation on their end. You know? Like, fuck's sake.
I mean, they don't work for us, Tegan. They work for...
I know! I need to perform a hostile takeover of the ESRB, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, I'm more interested in the idea of this being between the platform holder and the publisher, because if it's in the hand of the ESRB, then what that says is like, well, realistically, then all games need to be rated. And there are games out there that choose to release themselves unrated. There's a large number of games on Steam which have not been rated by the ESRB. And I don't want players to, A, get exposed to things that they're not comfortable with after a purchase, and B, I don't want those publishers to have to deal with the ESRB if they choose not to. So confine this relationship to...
The ESRB could say, though, hey, platform holders, you have to make sure that this happens for this game to go on your thing. Like, they could just make it a rule like, hey, they have to submit a content warning.
They don't have those teeth.
They don't have those teeth. They don't have those teeth. They will when I get there.
Also, Brian, to that point, a lot of games that end up on these storefronts don't actually have publishers. Like, technically, Boyfriend Dungeon was published by Kit Fox Games. Like,
yeah, it is self-published. Right. So, like, Kit Fox, like... So it's not that it doesn't have a publisher, it's self-published.
I feel like in this particular scenario, that's a distinction without a difference. Like, you might as well just have the developers have to submit that thing.
Yeah.
But differentiating that from, like, a publisher, because the publisher's job is to make sure that the game's delivered to the public in a way that doesn't cause problems. But shifting that to the developer specifically just, like, complicates the release process, which is a thing that a lot of people go to Steam, go to itch for, to avoid those kinds of complications.
I mean, like, that's certainly true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to become a supervillain.
I'm sorry.
This conversation is turning me into a supervillain.
No, I get it, Tika. That totally makes sense.
It's a good conversation. I'm not saying that. It's just, it's happening.
You know what else this reminds me of? Do y'all remember when this show fucking launched? And the original format for this show was each week, we'll talk about what we've been playing, a little bit about the news, and then we'll have a discussion topic. That's the original format for this show.
Yeah, that's why it was like 4.5 hours long. And then we got down to 4 by kind of the discussion, and then we simplified our banter section, and then we stopped taking questions because people stopped sending us questions, but whatever! You know?
Our cats can still grade your fucking mail! Anyway.
The cats have to grade the mail.
I rate this 8 toe beans.
Right. If what somebody like Steam or Apple or whatever did when they received a game that did not arrive with like a self-disclosed content warning did when they put it up on the fucking store is to say published without content warning or content warning not provided, then that at the very least is still a signpost.
Yeah, and that's absolutely an option that like AO3 has, is like, writer chose not to give you a publishing warning. Enter at your own fucking risk. And, like, fine. That's also valid.
Right. So, like, I am willing to, like, accept the idea where if somebody's just, like, wants to put up a fucking sign that says, there might be goblins here, you know, and, like, they lose sales because of it, fine. That's fine. I think the thing about the Boyfriend Dungeon discourse, which, like, exhausts me so much, is I'm thinking about 2 video games specifically. Is like there was a game that came out late last year, which people have since decided is mostly bad. It's a bad video game called The Medium.
Oh.
What was that noise, Tegan?
I remember hearing about The Medium.
Yes. So the Medium, here's what passes for the content warning from The Medium. I'm now going to read The Medium's content warning screen.
It's a garbage content warning, too. It makes me mad still.
Okay, all right.
So
I'm glad.
fucking bad.
I'm glad Tegan's already aware of this. I fucking hate this thing.
Yeah, I'm already aware of it, and it makes me mad.
We were all there, Brian.
It's still bad, though. That's the problem. It's still bad. Oh, go. Do it.
The medium was designed and developed by a diverse team of various beliefs, political views, and ideologies.
Who cares?
It touches upon highly sensitive subjects with the intent of treating them seriously. Despite this, some players might find certain scenes and themes triggering.
Man, fuck you.
Eat shit forever. Like, just eat shit forever.
Now, here's the thing. Like, Celeste deals with very serious themes, right? Depression, thoughts of suicide, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And they say, like, hey, we're going to talk about depression, and there will be allusions to these things. And if that's not for you, that's fine. And, like, the Psychonauts warning gives you, like, access to mental health resources. They're like, if you don't think this is for you, or you encounter it in our game and it upsets you, here are mental health resources for you. Like, because we don't want you to have a poor experience as a player. And that's good! That's so good! Like, fuck me. I'm gonna be real mad if fucking Psychonauts 2 is bad. I'm gonna be so upset.
I've heard good things so far.
Oh, and the other game I wanted to mention in the context of this conversation is 12 minutes. I guess I won't go into why, but, like, it infuriates me that there is no content warning on 12 minutes. There is shit in 12 minutes that is...
I can't wait for Brian's content.
What's that?
When you said you'd give me a content warning before I started to play 12 minutes, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, like there is stuff in 12 minutes which is, like, absolutely less, like, will make a person's skin crawl, lose sleep, and feel bad. And they just don't give a shit.
That sounds like something that really should have a content warning.
Right, and they just do not give a shit. There is no content warning on 12 minutes. And so, like, I look at the medium, and I look at 12 minutes, and, like, these are games that didn't do the work at all, or games that did, like, less than half-ass it. Like, it honestly feels like the content warning on the medium is, like, dismissive or making fun of content warnings. It's
making fun of content warnings, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
like
so shitty.
And so, like, I look at Kid Fox Games, who I think tried sincerely with their original content warning, but just came up short, and then got absolutely roasted for it. And, like, this is, like, a thing that, like, frustrates me. It's like, God damn you if you try, but don't stick the landing. Meanwhile, over here are people who are essentially making fun of the process or opting out of it, and they get, like, none of this. Like, Kid Fox is like, hey...
I think I can confidently say exactly why that's happening, and it's entirely because the people who play those games are different people. Like, for the most part, those are different markets that are being targeted.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, one of them is like, this is not adequate, even though you tried. And the other market's like, fuck it. I don't care.
The people that I feel like, and I'd have to look at their charts or whatever.
Give us access to the charts.
I feel like the people that publishers, possibly even the developers of, like, the medium were targeting with their game, when they saw that content warning, they were just like, alright, this is gonna get wild. And, like, that was it. And then they played the game, as opposed to, like, this didn't tell me anything. Do I really want to keep playing this? Like, they had decided already. Like, it's a totally different audience. Like, I get what you can say.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one of those is right. I'm just saying they're different groups.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Look at what you did, Joe.
I'm not blaming Joe.
You're proud of yourself. I want cookies.
They're pretty good questions.
You must be very proud of yourself. Oh, man.
Fucking
he always poses interesting questions. I do appreciate Joe's questions because they're always very good and they always do make me think. And I did have to sit there and, like, I commented on it and then I talked to Alex about it and then I thought about it for, like, 3 days.
I missed this entirely, so this was completely off the cuff. I'm patting myself on the back on that, but I did get baited in here and I'm still a little upset about that.
You did. It's okay. I tried to avoid getting baited by, like, answering it on the Twitter. Still happened. But it's fine.
Brian, we have news.
We sure do. Update.
Oh, it's magic.
OnlyFans gave up.
Yeah! OnlyFans did give up. Good on them.
No, they didn't. They're buying time.
I mean, yeah.
They've temporarily given up. And you know what? You know what that does, though? That gives time to every content creator on that platform to get a backup plan in place.
Right.
Yeah. Still, support the creators on the platforms they ask you to right now. If they say, I'm going to be here until I get my shit together, support them there. If they say, I'm done, I'm out, then definitely pack up your rodeo and go with the creator. But still, I'm glad that people made a noise and that they realized, oh, well, it'll be harder for us to get our next round of seed funding if we do this right now.
Also, continue. The fight against Nabisco is not over.
True.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. We've got beans for days on this show. Okay.
And not even the cute kind.
Hey there. Would anybody like to talk about Activision Blizzard?
Would I like to talk about Activision Blizzard? No, thank you. I will opt out of this conversation. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna talk about them.
Yes.
They're fucking dumb. They're stupid. They're so stupid.
I will preface this discussion of Activision Blizzard by saying, I recently, with the wife, binged the first 2 seasons of the HBO original series, Succession. First of all, Succession kicks ass. Holy shit, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
I'm all here for, the fucking adventures of Greg, man. That's what I'll say. And one thing that Greg did on Succession was shred a whole bunch of documents while singing to himself and making copies. And I was just man.
Making copies of the documents?
He was making copies of documents to protect himself. So in case anybody ever came knocking looking for, who shredded the documents, he would have insulated himself.
Ah, excellent. Okay, good. Smart. He's thinking ahead.
It's a circle
I appreciate
of life.
that, man.
Yeah.
It's going places.
And I hope that whatever fucking intern shredded these these temps, the shredded documents at Activision Blizzard kept secret copies themselves. So the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing has updated its lawsuit against Activision Blizzard and has added to the lawsuit temporary workers to the original complaint while accusing the publisher of withholding key documents. One of the passages now says, documents and records have not been maintained as required by law, and the documents related to investigations and complaints were shredded by human resources personnel, and emails are deleted 30 days after an employee separation. That is... Nope. It's a big nope.
Whoopsies.
Yes, indeed.
Did I do that?
So
For the record, I don't work for Activision Blizzard. I did not do that.
That would be actually the sickest reveal. Turns out Tegan hates Call of Duty because she's been working for them the entire time.
Oh, God. I would... Here's the thing, though. I would fucking keep receipts, though. I would have print out mandatory copies of every single fucking email where they were like, make sure you're shredding those things. Oh, yeah, can you add the shred time to my fucking calendar so I'm excused from this other meeting? There's so many documents to shred.
I'm just picturing...
Some fucking idiot would do it, I'm sure.
Picturing Tegan's Outlook, and it has... illegally shred documents in her fucking Outlook calendar.
It probably says, assist HR or whatever, and, print, screenshot.
God.
Christ.
Yeah, amazing. So, Activision Blizzard issued a statement regarding this, and the initial statement that they issued didn't explicitly reference the shredding, so they then, amended their statement. So I would like to read the amendment to their statement because, I don't usually like to entertain the garbage that these companies say where they're just trying to, defend themselves. But there is some very specific hair splitting that happens in this that, nearly gave me a fucking heart attack. Okay.
I can't wait from a former communications coordinator position. I really look forward to hearing this.
You will immediately find the hair that has been split.
I can't wait.
With regards to claims that we have destroyed information by shredding documents, those claims are not true. We took appropriate steps to preserve information relevant to the DFEH investigation. Tegan, walk him through. Where's the split hair? Where's the split hair?
It's the information relevant.
There it is.
Relevant there, because they're like, oh, but the stuff that we shredded wasn't relevant, and in the reality of the situation, yeah, it fucking was.
Yeah,
you can't
we
shred
made
anything until the investigation concludes. Anything you shred is now super, super sauce.
Right.
Probably fucking
Like
burned it
them
outside their location too.
Yeah, like we made the decision on behalf of the regulatory body suing us what is relevant during discovery. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Fucking garbage.
Like, I just,
Love it. God, I love it. You can be petty as fuck in corporate communications. Like, they teach you all the little secret shit like that. It's so fun. But, like, goddamn.
Man.
It's like, test that and find out. And test that and learn the consequences at your earliest convenience. Is just fuck around and find out, but very nice.
They're definitely in the find out phase.
They really are. I hope they're gone. You know what? If we never get another Activision Blizzard game and they just end up completely destroyed, good. Fuck off. Christ. On a bike.
There's just no... If Overwatch 2 tomorrow came out and they gave everybody who bought the game a fucking parasail, they're like, you can all go parasailing when you buy Overwatch 2.
There'd be a sharp rise in parasailing incidents, that's for sure.
Not wrong.
I still wouldn't be inclined to necessarily cover it because, like, at this point, like, I don't want to, from, like, a consumer products perspective, like, give any more runway to either Activision or Ubisoft. Like, they have proven themselves to be these giant engines for abuse. They are abuse machines.
Activision could announce tomorrow that they are donating 100% of their profits entirely and their entire CEO pay to, like, St. Jude Children's Hospital. And I'd be like, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
God.
There are fundamental changes that need to happen, which include, like, basically the removal of all of leadership and, like, fundamental restructuring to, like, the way the power systems work. And I would like to see those restructurings include fucking unionization. So, that's what I think.
A union. Get yourself a union.
Oh shit, it is almost September.
Yeah, get yourself a union. It's September. As a gift. Get it for yourself as a treat.
Rocky.
Yeah?
Tell us about a thing.
Oh, okay. So you guys know Unity, right? Like, most people know it as, like, the indie game engine that was used to create stuff like Hollow Knight. So their CEO, John Riccitello, he had a brief message to give to his staff on, I believe it was last Monday. And it reads, "We expect a story from a Vice journalist to talk about Unity's work with the government and military. The contracts for these engagements are very restrictive, similar to many of our partnership deals, including some of the work we do with gaming companies and in verticals such as retail. So while we can't share specific details, we can say that we have a thorough review process, and we have not, nor will we support programs where we knowingly violate our principles or values." For a lot of people that work for Unity, which is currently like a 4.6 thousand man company at this point, had no idea that Unity had done any work for the government or the military. So this came as a shock to a lot of people and is a subject of a continuous conversation, including a town hall that happened this past Tuesday. The article from Vice outlines that since Unity had gone public, late 2020, and they have a pretty significant valuation. I think there's something around 33... Damn it, I think it's million, but I feel like it's higher than that. They have taken on a wide swath of contracts, including those with various groups in the United States military, including the Pentagon, the Air Force, and the United States Army. But, by the same token, one of Unity's core tacits is that they believe in the freedom of expression and as the Unity engine as a tool to try to make the world a better place. And one of the things that they repeat on their websites and in numerous conferences that they will not take on projects that will harm the environment or directly cause a loss of life.
We're working with the military.
Right, exactly. It looks like they're actually positioning themselves to be in their own, like, Ronald Reagan moment where, you know, they get in front of us, and in front of the people at Unity, and they tell them, hey, I know we're working with the military, but as far as I know, we're not contributing to any sort of training or preparation that will result in a loss of life or harm for the environment. And then 6 months later, John Riccitello has to get in front of Unity and say, hey, I know what happened in the news looks bad, but it turns out I was completely assured that we weren't going to contribute to harm to the environment or loss of life, but sources have told me that simply was untrue. And there are a lot of people at Unity that are trying to avoid that outcome, it looks like. It's not unified. There are definitely a lot of people who don't share that kind of scrutiny, maybe concern, especially after hearing from John Riccitello, who has boldly claimed that we probably won't ever work with the Ku Klux Klan. That's a real quote. But,
Sorry, what? Probably won't.
That's what he said.
What?
Yeah. But I'm kind of all over the place. Part of the investigation that Vice published showed that Waypoint uncovered 3 government contracts with Unity in the past year, 2020, including a nearly $500,000 contract with the United States Air Force for a, quote, modeling and simulation prototype that would function as a, quote, multi-domain operations advanced battle management family of systems. There was also a different contract with this Air Force with a similar description, and a third contract for significantly less money, just under $25,000 for a Unity Pro subscription for the U.S. Army. The Navy also got a Unity license as well, but that was back in 2012. Some of the people that are in Unity tie the backlash to a particular deal that Unity made in 2019 with a company named Schlumberger, which increased ethical concerns and caused Unity to form a council called the Sales Ethics Advisory Council. What Schlumberger is a oil and refinery company that is largely referred to as the largest company that no one's ever heard of, or also known as the oil world's most secretive operator. And the biggest thing that they've made the news for recently is back in 2015, they violated sanctions in Iran and Sudan and was fined $155 million. And Unity was in business with these people. So they made this council to try to, review the ethics of these various deals that they would be making going forward. They've been around, since then, or around that time, actually. And what's come to light is while, this council is designed to do the ethical work on behalf of Unity, they aren't transparent. So most people at Unity don't even know what work the SEAC is doing or whether they're doing good work. It can't be scrutinized, and they don't publish any sort of report for Unity as a whole to go over. And even so, all final business decisions still fall to John Riccitello, their CEO. And while the implication is that he would take on the advice from the council, he absolutely can't ignore that. So Unity seems to be in business with not only the U.S. military, but also other foreign militaries, it looks like. And they don't seem interested in stopping, but they swear that the deals that they take and the work that they do, which once again isn't exactly transparent, there are various things in AI that Unity develops that may or may not go into the military deals that they're courting, and the developers may never know about it. But Unity swears up and down that none of these deals will ever violate their ethics. Time will only tell.
Babe, listen. Hey, I know you saw me hanging out with my ex the other day, but nothing happened. I promise. You can trust me on it. Is that what that feels like to anyone else?
No. That's what's happening. That's correct.
Jesus hell. Whatever. God damn it.
Oh man.
I wish that Stu was on this week because Riccitello is Stu's personal nemesis.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Stu, I look forward to your essay on Twitter about Riccatello.
Yeah, man, tell us how you really feel.
When Stu was at EA, so was Riccatello.
That sounds right. Yeah, those years line up, actually.
Yep. And so he's got feelings.
Oh, I fucked up. My bad. It's not 33 million. It's 33 billion with a B. Excuse me. My apologies.
Man, I wish I had $33 billion to throw around.
Oh, man. Fucking Unity, man. And Unity's kind of everywhere. I mean, they did start out like Mac exclusive, but like they made shit like Hollow Knight, and they lend their talents to Hearthstone. And most people that like operate in the indie space like either have some knowledge or like work with Unity. And Unity is not limited to video games. Like Unity's being used in movies and shit now. Like you got to keep your eyes open. But you know, we'll see how this goes. God damn it. Who's next?
I don't know if you can tell, but Roman is exceptionally upset about this news.
That makes sense.
I trust you can hear him in the background, because I can hear him.
I can hear him. Yeah.
He's upset. That's okay.
I thought Ruben was excited about Niantic pulling an OnlyFans and giving up.
Oh, for sure. In reality, Roman's excited about food. He's wanting to let me know that it's 30 minutes until feeding time. Excuse me, why am I not being fed right now? It's not like he doesn't have food, though. Anyway, yeah, Niantic did do that thing. They pulled a reverse, and they said, JK, we're gonna re-extend the distance that you can spin Pokestops and gyms from to 80 meters. And it's gonna stay that way from now on, quote-unquote. This change will go back into effect on the 1st of September, which is also when the ball banner drops in Genshin Impact. So I'm not going to be playing Pokemon Go then anyway, but I am very excited that, personally, that people complaining on the internet worked and did some good stuff. So congrats.
The internet might actually be real.
The internet might be real, and it might be kind of okay sometimes. Not every time. Will you stop it, sir? Oh, you can play with that. I don't care. He was scratching on the wall. And then he found a toy. It's fine. Everything's fine now. Jesus.
Neat.
But yeah, we're going to be able to go catch Pokemon. We're going to be able to reach the Pokestop by my house, which is currently on a part of the park trail that is closed due to a lizard migration. And so I'm going to be able to, or it's lizards and frogs, but you know. But then I'll be able to do it. I'll be able to get there without having to actually go into the park and walk around all the signs that say, like, hey, this place is closed. You know.
Maybe
like
one day
Team
it'll be
Rocket or something.
Bulbasaurs.
So, in my neighborhood, 2 doors to the east of my house is not a house, but a green belt for the neighborhood. And
I don't know what that is. What's a green belt?
It's like in a subdivision, like an area of like public grass for like space and gathering and stuff.
Oh, okay, like a little mini park.
Right. And in the green belt there is a Ramada. And some number of years ago, my wife said, hey, Niantic, please make the Ramada a Pokestop.
Yay!
And they did not, and they did not, but Beth's ship just came in, effective this week. The Ramada, 2 doors down from our house, is a Pokestop.
Woo! Congratulations on your brand new Pokestop!
Yeah, shoutouts.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch so many little guys. It's gonna be great. Tell you what, there's nothing like having a Pokestop near your house. Very convenient. If only it were a gym.
So that seems neat. It seems helpful that it's just 2 doors down. So, would anyone like to talk about garbage?
I thought we did that already by talking about Activision shredding evidence.
Okay, well, this is a different kind of garbage. This is garbage about market manipulation.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that
So you
illegal?
remember the time... well, yeah. But it remains to be seen whether, in this case, enough evidence can be found to get these people in trouble with the SEC. Remember that time that we recently covered the sale of a copy of The Legend of Zelda that was sealed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, literally the same week that we covered that, while we were recording, a copy of Super Mario 64 sold for $1.5 million. Like, it was a rapid succession of, like, ridiculous prices.
Yeah, and we were like, what the heck?
Okay. So there has been some, like, digging into what's been going on with heritage auctions and Wata games. So first, a little background for listeners if they're new to this story. In 2017, a mint condition sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers sold at auction for $30,000. So again, 2017, $30,000. In 2019, it sold for $100,000, and then in August of 2021, it sold for $2 million. So in the space of 4 years, that's a 6,500% increase.
Oof.
People have started to look at this and say, it looks like the auction house that handled all three of those sales, which is Heritage, has been engaging in, like,
Fixin'?
hype and market manipulation.
Are they fixing the prices?
We're getting into it, Tegan. Roll up your sleeves. That's where we going.
I
Okay.
like fraud. Fraud's fun.
Isn't it, though? So, the 2019 sales of Super Mario Bros. Was notable for setting the record in game collectible prices, and that sale was used to drum up publicity for Heritage auctions. The game was bought by Jim Halperin, co-founder of the auction house, and co-chairman, coin dealer Rich Leachy, and game store owner Just Press Play, Zach Geig. So these three guys went in on this copy of Super Mario Brothers together, and one of the guys that went in on the game was this fella, Jim Halperin, who is the owner of the auction house. Okay?
Huh?
That seems suspicious to you, Tegan?
Just a little sus.
Okay.
My imposter senses are tingling.
Yes. So Heritage announced the deal in a press release talking about the growing value of vintage video games and how they have a role in selling them. At the time, the seller did not disclose their identity for privacy reasons, but the seller had previously consulted for Wata Games, which was the organization that had graded the copy of Super Mario Brothers in a voluntary capacity. So a person who graded for Wata sold his copy of the games at the auction house that Wata has a business relationship with. Wata Games shows Halperin, the owner of Heritage, as a member of their advisor board, and Wata has described Heritage as a business partner going back to their founding in 2017. Kind of showing just how intrinsically tied these two organizations are, right? So the game grading company Wata says that Jim Halperin, the owner of Heritage, is a member of their board, and Wata says that Heritage is a business partner. So Wata, here's where we start to get into, like, how price fixing is valuable in this space. Wata makes money off of people sending in their games to have the condition graded. The way that they charge people for that is they charge them a flat rate, and then in addition to the flat rate, they charge them 2% of the, quote, fair market value for the game, up to a cap of $100,000. And then Heritage makes commissions off the sale of the game in two ways. Heritage has a seller's fee where they're charging the seller between 5 and 10% of the sales fee. And then they also charge a buyer's premium, which is 20% of the sales price. So
That seems like a lot of money.
And in a space, Tegan, where a auction house isn't actively participating in market manipulation, it's pretty standard fare. But if an auction house and a grading company are participating in market manipulation, it's a way for them to juice their commissions, essentially.
Right.
Okay.
I gotcha. I'm following.
Okay. So despite the growing prestige commanded by Wata's grading, it appears to me that sometimes they're getting things wrong. Critics have cited a copy of Tomb Raider for the Sega Saturn that was given an A+, despite there being clear holes in the shrink wrap. And also, there has been issues with disparities in how they're treating games that have mold damage. Now, in our show doc, I have added 2 pictures. Both are games that have been graded by WATA. On the left is a picture of a graded copy of Excitebike, and on the right is a graded copy of Alpha Mission. Do y'all see in the lower right-hand corner of that copy of Excitebike that giant nightmare spot on the front of the box?
Yeah.
Okay, that's mold damage.
Okay.
Now, look at the copy of Alpha Mission.
Yeah, that one's near perfect, it looks like.
Okay. Now, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the grades assigned to both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, what's critical here is the color of the dot that the grade appears on. Blue indicates that there is no kind of like superficial physical damage to the game or the box. Red specifically denotes mold damage. So that copy of Alpha Mission there has been given a red dot for mold, and Excitebike, that copy of Excitebike that was graded, no red dot. Nope.
I mean, could the grading have occurred before the mold damage happened? Is that like a possibility?
No.
No. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then, something's wrong here.
Right. And so, like, what it appears to be happening is that they are grading games where comparatively, a lot of sealed copies exist loose in the wild on a more generous curve. Like, games where there's a lot of them out there, they're grading more generously, which is how you get stuff like this, like, obviously very heavily damaged copy of Excitebike with giant visible mold damage not getting graded lower because of the racket that WATA and Heritage are in, where like the price of the grading is based on 2% of the fair market value. And so like by grading it higher, they're essentially increasing the price of the commissions. So they're pumping it up. And so this isn't the first time either that Jim Halperin or Heritage have courted controversy. Jim Halperin has had brushes with postal inspectors, the FTC, and has been sued by corn dealers for, among other things, sticking them with inflated prices. There was a Forbes profile of Halperin in 2004. Among other things, Halperin and other Heritage employees have been accused of shill bidding, where employees bid up auctions. Halperin published a long rebuttal in 2004 to the Forbes article, but does not dispute the shill bidding. In fact, Halperin says that Heritage auction employees bid on auctions. It says that it's not Heritage's job to discourage qualified buyers from making bids, and that if an employee is a qualified buyer, they're entitled to bid. Anybody seeing some like trouble with this? And then, okay, who would have thought this fucking name emerges twice on our show of the year? And lo and behold, a wild Seth Abramson appears. That guy. So Seth Abramson, the guy who like showed up out of nowhere to like run cover for Tommy Tallarico and the Amico, seems to have gotten a hair up his butt to like go after Heritage and go after WATA. And I guess I'm not necessarily opposed to this. What he's trying to do is based on auctions that Heritage has run and based on auctions that have appeared at other auction houses and auction websites, is trying to assemble population reports. Like, how many known copies are there of games? Like sealed copies of games. And the reason he's trying to do this is that WATA Games refuses to release their population reports, which is like very, very unusual. Most other collectible grading authorities release population reports so that way people have an idea how many there are necessarily in a marketplace. So that way, like, if you're out there like trying to like buy a copy of like Action Comics number 10, you know how many copies of Action Comics number 10 there are in the marketplace according to like grading authorities.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for a steel penny from 1943, because there were only so many steel pennies made that were made at the Denver Mint, then coin authorities can tell you how many steel pennies there are currently in the marketplace. So it's very unusual that collectible grading authorities do not release population reports, because it helps buyers plan their buying strategies more effectively and know when to like start making like reach bids. And it's weird that WADA has not been doing this. And the only real reason for WADA not to do this is because there appears to be this like feedback loop between like graders, WADA themselves, and heritage auctions, where they're sitting on like large piles of these common, highly graded games that they can then like just like periodically pump into the marketplace for huge amounts of money. And then on the back end, when other people like open that desk drawer and they're like, "Look, Ma, a copy of Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm going to be rich," they can then also get them going and coming. Like they can pump up the prices and sell the copies that they've been holding on to. And then when people bring in copies to get graded, they can get them coming when Joe off the street thinks he can become a millionaire with his copy of Mario Brothers 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, I'm glad there's been some, like, legwork done into this. Like, sure enough, Halperin did have to pay some fines for, like, postal fraud related to when he was a stamp seller in the 90s. Then he got in a dust-up in the coin industry, which is what the piece in Forbes was in 2004. And in every case, every time Halperin has been associated with a grading authority, the grading authority has been unwilling to release population reports, and then is ultimately replaced by a more authoritative and transparent grading authority. So what do y'all think of this?
I'd like to see the cinematic movie event. You know, the, like, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
But with this dumbass.
Ugh, man. Makes me so tired. Like, I hate when evil is so cynically basic. Like, if you're going to be evil, at least work harder. Be more interesting at being evil. You know? Rocky, you have additional news. Is it depressing or not depressing?
Depends on who you ask.
Okay. I ask you.
Yeah, I know. So last year, right, Steam rolled out a new feature that allowed people to seek refunds for games that they no longer wanted to be a part of their Steam library. As Steam is wont to do, they are focused on making sure that the process is as simple and hands-off as possible. And so they only have two conditions for you seeking a refund for a video game, which is that it hasn't been 2 weeks since you bought it, and if the game has been played for less than 2 hours. That usually seems fair, because most games are longer than 2 hours. It's usually how that goes. And if you let a game sit around for 2 weeks, like, most people wouldn't give you a refund for that generally, unless, you know, you had extenuating circumstances. But recently, there was a new horror game that was put out by, I believe this is actually a solo dev, Emeka Games, called Summer of 58. And for all intents and purposes, Summer of 58 is a pretty good horror game. Most people that play it enjoy it a lot. However, the runtime of the game runs pretty convincingly under 2 hours. In fact, you can probably finish it in about 90 minutes. And it seems that a lot of people, when they buy this game, they play through it, have an excellent time, and then refund it immediately to get their money back. And according to the current state of Steam's refund policy, they just get their money back and Emeka Games gets screwed. So much so that Emeka initially made a thread on their Twitter page that they are leaving games entirely to reassess what they're making and where their place is in the industry. They have since been met with a lot of support. A lot of people have gone out of their way to support the game and like talking about it and like giving favorable reviews on Steam. But as long as Steam's refund policy stays the way that it is, there is nothing to stop anyone from playing the game, enjoying it or not, and then just refunding it, having already absorbed the experience.
I have used Steam's self-refund feature exactly twice. Exactly twice. The first time was because I bought a game, and there was some absolutely repellent and horrifying shit that I did not want to encounter in the game within like the first 15 minutes.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, this is what you've got on offer, huh? Nope. I don't want to see this. It would have been helpful if you had had a content warning disclosure in your game description.
Mm-hmm.
And I then self-refunded. The second time was I bought a game that was fundamentally broken, and I sat in like the Steam forums for the game for like a fucking week. Rocky knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I kept to be like, hey, game broken, would like to play game. Hey, game broken, would like to play game. And like the developers just sat there like ignoring people who were like talking about crash issues.
Well,
like
come on, Brian, give them a little credit. They did tell you to buy a better graphics card.
Oh, God.
Now
Rocky,
you got him started.
I'm seeing red. I don't want to see red.
Yeah, you do.
Just
a little bit.
A little bit, Brian.
A little bit red's fine.
Just a tinge.
You gotta have some color in your life, man.
Yeah.
I'm seeing pink. But the idea that somebody would play a game, enjoy it, and they'd be like, yeah, wow, okay, like, I connected with that experience was good. Give me my money back.
Yeah, it's a grift, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck those people.
Well, yeah, of course. Obviously. They're definitely the villains in this problem. But the thing is, attacking those people doesn't get us anything. Because the real problem is Steam. They should probably have a more robust refund process. But, you know, they don't.
The thing that, like, bothers me is, like, where Valve is concerned about friction is to Valve. They're like, okay, the more humans we have doing things, then the more headcount we need, and the headcount is expensive, and the more expensive the world is, the less money we make. The game needs knives. And I'm just here to say that, like, there's nothing wrong with having people intercede at certain points of the process. Like, I wonder how many people who refunded this game have, like, multiple or several prior refunds in the history of their Steam account. Might be, I don't know, helpful to have things like triggers that cause friction based on account history. So there you don't even need to have, like, a human every time. Like, let's say, like, Joe's Steam customer comes along and is like, you know what, this game's not for me, and they try and refund it, then that's fine, like, when their account history doesn't reflect it. But, like, if their account history has, like, oh, I don't know, like, 11 self-refunds, might seem to be a good place to introduce friction, right? Like, and, like, put a human into the process.
Yeah, I got
and be like, hi, I'm human into the process. What seems to be your problem with this game, buckaroo? Another thing that might work for creating appropriate friction, if Steam checks to see if the user has already left a review and then, like, kind of, like, searches for key phrases. Like, when I tried to buy game and game kept crashing, I made a point of not leaving a review because all I could say in my review would be, game keeps fucking crashing. Devs just told me to buy graphics card. It would not be that hard to, like, algorithmically search for, like, key phrases in reviews if they've been left. And so, like, if somebody's left a review, it includes phrases like awesome, great, fun, would recommend, things like that. Like, if they leave a review like that and then seek a self-refund, that also seems to be, like, a good place to introduce friction. Like,
I mean, how about also, like, Steam is full of achievements? How about also, like, you get the end game achievement? You know?
At least in introducing friction, you get, like, hey, you cleared the game achievement. Sounds like something that would make sense.
So it sounds to me like we are in agreement that, like, there are different ways that you can introduce friction to this process.
Oh, yeah.
Where you don't even need to hire a shit million ton of people. Just hire a fucking sub.
No, but the game says no people, only knives. And it's just like, okay, bro.
No people, only knives. When I'm fucking done, I'm tipping over New Zealand with how many fucking knives I brought to this island.
He's got so many knives.
He's got so many
I would like one. I only need one knife game, please.
Man.
You took them all out of my kitchen pantry.
Well, Tegan, when society collapses and Valve is reduced to dust, we can go and salvage fucking Gabe's knife collection.
Okay.
We're going to New Zealand, fucking Wind Waker style.
Hell yeah. I'm 100% prepared to navigate a boat on the open ocean.
Oh, fuck. There was a game that I just recently saw that I want to play that was like...
Is about navigating a boat on the open ocean.
It's a bit like that. It's kind of like Fire Emblem, but also you, like, sail a ship on the open seas, and there's, like, missions and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of low poly, but it's super complicated. I'm excited.
And when we come back, we're going to build a boat out of knives in order to, like, hold the rest of the knives. You know, because, like, if we just try to put all of the knives in our catamaran, we're going to tip over the catamaran.
It'll be a big issue, yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to Knife Boat, which holds knives. Hire people!
Our new podcast about us sailing around the world in a boat full of knives.
Made from knives.
Brian, do you want to do your disclaimer first?
Okay.
Thanks.
In this world, there are two kinds of people.
Yes.
The people who speak for Amazon and the people who do not speak for Amazon. I do not speak for Amazon.
Dun dun. Okay. Thanks. Streamlabs, it's related, we promise. Streamlabs is gonna add in a monthly tipping service. That's the news! Ta-da! Streamlabs, which is, you know, a popular, like, OBS kind of stream service that people like me, surprise, surprise, use for streaming to Twitch, is rolling out a monthly streaming service as an alternative way for streamers to earn money from their fans. So, like, right now you can do donations and, like, tips through Streamlabs, but all the monthly subscription information sort of comes through Twitch. This would be an alternative to that, essentially. Creators will be able to enable or disable the monthly tip settings and set specific subscription prices. Monthly tips are then deposited straight into a creator's PayPal account, so it doesn't go through no third-party holdings, no Twitch saying you need to earn $100 before we're going to pay you out, none of that. The payments are, you know, subjected to payment processing fees, but, like, that is such as PayPal. And the quote we have from Ashrayers, who is Streamlabs' current head of product, is that Streamlabs creator subscriptions is open to anyone with a Streamlabs tip page, regardless of size or how often they stream. So anybody, essentially, who is using Streamlabs OBS will be able to accept monthly tips. They're also implementing a leaderboard on the Streamlabs side where you'll get to see, like, how long people have been tipping monthly, and you can get badges through it. So it's very, very similar to Twitch's monthly donation service. However, Twitch does take 50% of the revenue from streamers, from people who subscribe to streamers. So,
yay, competition.
Yay, competition! Is it better? Is it not better? I don't know. Yet. I don't know. I haven't, you know, we haven't set up any of that stuff yet on our Twitch because we're still working it out. However, among the myriad of options, but it is interesting, and I think it's for smaller streamers who rely more on the viewers that they have, I think this may be a better option for them.
Plus, Streamlabs, like, allows you to, like, multi-stream to multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm.
That may actually be an interesting choice.
It's definitely a way to put pressure on Twitch.
Down for putting pressure on Twitch.
It'll be interesting. I think the interesting thing is that this is happening side by side with all of the Twitch hate raid stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this week on the 1st, when the subscription service is set to go in, or, like, the rollout, like, is going out to more people, is the small creator sort of Twitch boycott, where people aren't going to be... The advice is to stay off of Twitch in support of small and LGBT and POC creators who are experiencing massive bot hate raids, that the general internet consensus appears to be Twitch says, we hear you, but then isn't really making enough of an effort to combat. Or if they are, they're doing it all internally and not being, like, clear when communicating their intent to create it, or to like combat it. So it is what it is, I guess. We're not going to be streaming on the 1st, though. That's usually Rocky's stream day.
True.
And I will be reminding people when I'm streaming that we're not going to be streaming on the 1st. So, yeah. That's the news.
Yep.
Yep, sure is news.
News was, I think, pretty solidly, with the exception of, like, Niantic caving, garbage this week.
I think we had a good time discussing Activision being stupid again, legally.
Yeah. Stupid on a legal level. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not disputing that, like, a good time was had by all. I just wish we were having good times for different reasons.
Yeah.
That's true. That's valid. I had a good time with Pokemon Go, though. I'm going to go Pokemon Go. Not right now, but you know what I mean.
Well, folks, I believe that this has been a radio program.
Could you imagine if we swore this much on the radio?
Nah.
I think we'd be in trouble. We'd have to be like late night hosts.
We'd have to pay some fees, yeah. Or fines? They're fines at that point, I think.
Yeah, they're fines.
Hey, everybody, this has been our show. It's called Impossible Coin, and as you may or may not know, we do this every week. You can find us wherever podcasts are found, in case someone's just playing this in the background of whatever Wendy's you're at. Speaking of playing things in the background of Wendy's, the music at the beginning and end of this show was designed and properly curated by the illustrious Big Sach. And if you want to see his work, you can find him at SoundCloud on soundcloud.com/Big Sach NJ. Our logo is also a t-shirt, and it was designed by Lauren Moran. You can find her on Twitter at Lauren Moran and consider donating to her Patreon, because she does more than make our logo. She actually does some really good shit. And speaking of Patreon, as you probably heard earlier, we have one of those too at patreon.com/Impossible Coin Podcast. There you'll have access to not only this show, but also our artisanal show notes that come with each show, in addition to our bespoke watch-alongs for things that we fuck around with, and audio essays about things that we care about, like the Zelda timeline and the history of handhelds. If you want something a bit more intimate that you may or may not have to pay money for, you can find us when we stream, currently on Twitch, but not on the day of this episode. Sorry for ya. But you can find us at twitch.tv/ImpossibleCoin. There, Tegan has been playing through Skyward Sword, and I've been playing through Tales of Symphonia. There's also some demo playthroughs from stuff during E3. I think I want to get back into those. There's still a lot of demos that have been piling up that I've been meaning to get through. And if you want to just talk to us, you really just want to get something off your chest, you can find us on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Brian's on Twitter, and Tegan's on Tumblr. It's all Impossible Coin. You know, no spaces, no underscores, no X's or dashes or anything weird like that, so you'll find us pretty easily, I'm pretty sure. But that's us. That's the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to watch Fight Club soon. I really do. It re-entered the discourse right after the last episode, and so I put up a Photoshop on the Twitter of me photoshopped onto the Fight Club poster, and I think some people are going for it, so we might do that. We might watch Fight Club. We're going to do some other things too. But thanks for hanging out. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, later.
It's official.